Masamkele kwakho kwinkqubo yethu iVOB Voice of the Bay. Igama lam nguPercy M Lamani. Inkqubo yethu yanamhlanje sizawuncokola neShop Steward yapha kulamzi womzi wamatayera eKariyerha iGoodyear Company. Kanti ke sikwakunye naye umhlekazi uSmart Kangonyama, kwakunye naye umsimelelo kaDyantyisi neShop Steward eGoodyear. Kanti ke kwalapha enkqubeni yethu siza kuthetha nomhlekazi uGift kaNgqondi nokwanguSomlomo wombutho we-ANC kwiphondo leMpuma Kapa ngokuwa kwakhe umama uDr Nondumiso Maphazi. Umbutho wayo i-EFF nokhokelwa ngumhlekazi uKhanya Ngqisha phaa eBhungeni nongu-MMC we-Budget and Treasury, naye sizawuncokola naye malunga nemiba kamasipala Dombaxa ngakumbi kwicala lezezimali. Kodwa ke ngaleli thuba masamkele umhlekazi umsimelelo kaDyantyisi neShop Steward phaa eGoodyear. Mhlekazi uDyantyisi, good day and welcome to Voice of the Bay.
Mandizibulisele nam tata uPercy, ndibulise nako tata uNgonyama kunye nazo zonke viewers.
Inkosi kakhulu. Tata uSmart Kangonyama, masikwamkele nawe apha kwinkqubo yethu.
Yabulela mntakaLamani kuwe kwakunye nakumsimelelo uMr Dyantyisi kwakunye nabaphulaphuli ngokubanzi. Enkosi.
Inkosi kakhulu. Mhlekazi uDyantyisi, according section 189, a notice has been signed ngokutsho kwakhe umhlekazi uGerard wapha eGoodyear South Africa, nalapho echaza khona ngohlengahlengiso ngaphakathi kwinkampani yaseGoodyear, nohlengahlengiso oluphawulayo into yokokuba luchaphazela abasebenzi abapha ku-907, nalapho ke ii-jobs ezizawuthi zibe kanti ziyachaphazeleka kudendo okanye nakuvalo lwenkampani kwii-sections eziliqela. Loo nto leyo iyawuchaphazela abantu abaninzi kakhulu, kodwa ke nguwe umntu onosichazela ngcono ngento evakeleyo earlier this month echaphazela abasebenzi phaa eGoodyear.
Liyinene elo litshoyo tata uPercy, kodwa ndicinga uba mandiqale nje silungisane kule ndaba. Namhlanje ndinxibe icaps ka-chairman weNUMSA e-UNIC local, which is Kariyerha.
Okay.
Mna ndiyi-Shop Steward yase-Continental Conditech phaa eyadini eGoodyear. Nathi sizibhaqa sikwimeko ekukumila kunje apho besifumene usection 189 usithi makuvalwe laa plant ngoJanuwari, kodwa sesibuyiqukumbela le. Kodwa ke ndinalo igunya ngokwalapha embuthweni lokuthetha ngentlekele eyenzeka eGoodyear. Ukuba uyandivumela manditsho nje uba yonke le nto yenzekileyo eGoodyear yinto engaqhelekanga, yinto engamkelekanga, yinto equmbise abasebenzi kakhulu. Esona sizathu yinto yokuba ngaba bekusoloko kubakho amahemhem yokuthengiswa kwenye yee-sections zaseGoodyear, kodwa iGoodyear management ibisoloko isithi ayikho into enjalo. Sikhwankqisiwe ke ukuva ukuba ngabana ngomhla wesine xa besihleli neShop Steward zaseGoodyear kunye nemanagement yayo kwii-wage negotiations ze-tire sector, a separate process, apho kuthiwe mabashiye ezo wage negotiations bakhawuleze babuyele eTinarha kunentlanganiso engxamisekileyo kakhulu. Sibuzene singazi nokuba yintlanganiso kukumila kunjani le. Bafikile ke apho estadium apho u-managing director uPaul Gerard uye wathi thaca ezi ndaba ngaphantsi nje kwemizuzu eli-10. Usishiye ke sonke sikhwankqisekile sizibuza kodwa kungekho zimpendulo. Kodwa ke siyiNUMSA sinethemba lokuba ngabana umthetho walapha eSouth Africa uyayinyanzelisa inkampani okokuba mayize etafileni izokuhlala ixoxe, iconsulte nee-trade unions kunye namalungu angenazo ii-trade unions ngalo mba bawuthethayo. Okwangoku samkela ke le notice yabo njengenotice equlathe iproposal yabo yokuvala le mboni yamatayara. Kulindeleke ke thina siconsulte ne-membership yethu. Intlanganiso yokuqala ibikhona ke namhlanje eGoodyear General Meeting, apho besicaciselana khona ngokuba sibheka njani phambili. Emasikukhankanye into yokuba ngabana i-LRA isinika i-minimum ye-60 days consisting of minimum of 4 consultation sessions, apho ii-parties kuza kunyanzeleka zifikelele esigqibeni. Thina singena ke apho kuloo consultation process as guided by section 189 ngelithi ingaba ikhona na indlela yokuavoida ezi dismissals. IGoodyear funeka iphendulile. Ingaba ukuba ngabana ayikho, ingaba ikhona indlela yokuthoba eli nani labantu abaza kube be-affected, ngoba siyi-union asikwazi ukuyamkela le meko. More so that ingengobasebenzi ababangele sibe kule meko. Itsho ke iGoodyear ukuba hayi, imbangi yokubana ize nale proposal kungonxeni yokuba ngabana iyahlengahlengisa ushishino lwayo kwihlabathi liphela, ingakumbi le region yase-Eastern Europe nase-Afrika. Akungebi ngabasebenzi baseTinarha ababangela uba ivulayo, nto nje yilaa nto sithi xa sithetha yi-shareholder capitalism driven by greed. Eyona nto bafuna ukuyenza kumaximize i-profit at a global scale. Kungelishwa ke into yokuba ngabana ba-affected abasebenzi.
Mhlekazi uDyantyisi, if I may ask, what motivates their restructuring? What is exactly is motivating their restructuring?
Sithe ke xa sithetha singumbutho wentsimi, le nto iqulathwe apha kule 10-page document siyifumene kwiGoodyear ayizokwazi ukuzicacisa. Intlanganiso yokuqala ye-consultation lelona thuba esiza kukwazi ukuthi kuyo Goodyear khawukhe usubstantiate ngokuphangaleleyo, ngoba awuthethi nto kule 10 page, ugcwelise nje amagama. Esona sona sizathu bayayibandakanya into ye-optimization, bayayibandakanya into yokudeclina kwe-production ne-market kwi-local market, bayayibandakanya into ye-challenge yamatayara angenayo apha eMzantsi Afrika atshipa angaprodyuswa apha in the main by the Chinese as ezinye zezizathu. Besitsho kananjalo ukuba lena ayiyo yodwa iplanti abayivalayo kule nto yabo yokurestructurisha nokuqinisekisa uba ngabana bayakhontinyuisha ukwenza i-profits. Kodwa ke elona thuba lililo leli siza kulifumana kwi-first consultation session, apho sivumeleke khona into yokuba ngabana sicele i-information ephangaleleyo ezasibangela into yokuba ngabana soconsulta nabasebenzi basinike igunya lokuza nezethu i-counter proposal. Kwesi sigaba ndicinga uba kubalulekile sitsho into yokuba ngabana simema zonke i-stakeholders nabo bonke abantu aba-affected kule meko bancedisane nathi ukwenzela into yokuba ngabana sizame indlela yokulwisana nale meko sizibaqesa.
Okay. Enkosi kakhulu, Mr. Msimelelo Dyantyi, shop steward of NUMSA in that plant of Goodyear. Mr. Smuts Ngonyama, let's welcome you once again. You are also calling for, or you are also calling to everyone to step into this situation so that people can prevent the closure of this plant of Goodyear. Tell us, what are your fears as a political activist?
Thank you very much, Mr. Lamani, and thank you, Mr. Dyantyi, for this elaboration. I want to say, Mhlekazi, this is a very, very big challenge for iMetro in general and Kariega in particular. We grew up, were born in that area, we grew up there with these companies. in existence to Goodyear tires.
Mm.
There are many other companies that left. We had Borgwana, we had Bosal, we had GKV, we had Johnson Controls, we had Oma Fine Wool, and many others. And all those companies are gone. Zimkile ngoba sithetha nje. And now we're having a big brand like Goodyear. Kuthiwa iyahamba eTinarha. Loo nto itsho ukuthi abasebenzi baseGoodyear bazawucakamela ilanga emakhaya ngexesha ebekufanele into yobana basemsebenzini. Implications are loo nto job loss of 907 if you were to multiply that 907 by 5, for instance, and uba uthatha abantu mhlawumbe abadependa kwabo bantu, that will take you to more than 4,000 yabantu that will be affected. Yiyeke ke leyo yabantu aba-affected directly uye kwi-community yaseTinarha in general, because and sonke njengoba siphangela nje okanye ngexesha bendisaphangela ke kukhona izihlobo nezalamane zethu ezidependa apha kuthi. Abantu bathenge, abasebenzi baseGoodyear bathenge izindlu, bathenge imoto, and our worry is that i-bonds kuzawuba nzima zibhataleke. Kuzawuba nzima into yoba kubhataleke even i-tax, kubhataleke i-rates and services kamasipala. So umasipala is directly affected kule process. Siye kwi-local economy. Zonke i-shops and as a provider economic goods apha eKariyerha nakwi-metro are going to be affected because i-buying power iza kuhla. Ezikolweni, for instance, abantwana bafunda ezikolweni and eziphezulu kwi-public schools nakwi-private schools. It's a choice and of the parents. Now, cinga ke i-future yabo bantwana Mntakalamane. Ujonge emakhaya xa utata engaphangeli okanye umama engaphangeli kwenzeka ntoni kwela khaya. Just imagine uba ukutya emakhaya, the basic thing, and i-uniforms zabantwana. This is what is actually worrying me, and as an individual to make the call ukuthi njena this is unprecedented, as I said, and into yoba no jebesitsho umsimelelo uba ayiqhelekanga le nto uba abantu kuvele nje uhliwe entloko. Kudla ngoba kuxelwe and abantu baxoxe and kuqhutyekwe kubheke phambili. So nantso into esiphakamisayo thina singabahlali, and into yobana kaloku abasebenzi baseGoodyear bahlala kwi-communities. They are part of the families, and therefore we cannot keep quiet kule situation, especially xa ivela ngolu hlobo ivela ngalo. That is why we say stakeholders come up. Everybody must step forward. We have tolerated many closure ebesenziwa phaya, Omabagwana and many others. And we know, at my age, I know about implications are lendo, because my father was a worker at Volkswagen. Myself, I was a casual worker at Goodyear Tires. Every holiday I used to go there and work at Goodyear. And my mother was there, and i-vendor ethengisayo flowers, Pagoma Costa Noma Galvandale, and also i-veg. So I have direct experience of this pain. That's why I feel we must stand up. Stakeholders, if we're serious about our area, let's stand up and appeal. And the unions must be given a chance.
Yes, Mr. Ngonyama.
Must negotiate.
Mr. Ngonyama, if I may ask,
yes,
how many so far prominent figures did you consult?
I've spoken to the Minister of Finance, Mr. Godongwana. I sent a message to him. I didn't speak to him directly. And he appreciated this, and he said it's quite a challenge. I spoke to the Premier, Mr. Lamani, and the Premier also responded to me. I said, and I spoke to IDC and yesterday.
Okay.
IDC come in. I tried to contact DTIC, to see if they cannot come up with a package here, incentives to assist the process so that to save umsebenzi.
Are they promising?
And so
Are they promising to intervene?
it's difficult to tell at the present moment. All of them said to me, it's still early. And so that's where we are right now. But many people are concerned. Prominent people in the area. I've been phoned by a number of people, but hey, fondini uright lendo kuyikwazi. Dithi kalo madoda usana olungakhaliyo lufele embelekweni.
Okay.
Angeke sithule nje. Ndifuna ukuthi ke ndiyabulela mna nale nkcazelo siyifumanayo namhlanje Mr. Msimelelo uba sazi uba le nto ize njani. Kuyacaca into yobana ibuhlungu ize kakubi. Abantu benegotiator kusuke emva kwe-negotiations phakathi kuthiwa hambani nibheke stadium abazi noma kuthi ifana nalaa nto and laa nto kuthiwa abantu bangena kwi-crawl embalini and kwathiwa bulala umthakathi bengaphakathi.
Mr. Smart Ngonyama, we really appreciate your efforts that you are making in this situation where a number of workers are going to lose their jobs, about 907 workers that are going to lose their job. We really appreciate your efforts. Mr. Jantjies, before we wrap it up, can you give us the way forward?
Okay, enkosi Tatuphisi, mandiqale nje kule nto ndiyakuva ke uthetha nge-907 injalo ngokwakwi-document yaseGoodyear. Kodwa njengabantu abakulaa yadi thina siyayazi uba kune-suppliers companies, kune-service providers zaseGoodyear. Eli nani liza kwanda. So i-magnitude yale nto ingaphaya. Okwesibini, ndiphinde nditsho uba uPhisi uba ke apha ndingu-chairman weNUMSA, andifuni ubhidana nala maqabane aseGoodyear. Mna ndingowase-Contitech, Contitech leyo nayo evalayo nge-15 kaSeptemba. Ukubheka phambili ngoku Tatuphisi, iGoodyear ibhalele e-CCMA, kucelwa i-CCMA izokufacilitata le consultation process. Minimum days, a period ekulindele ukuba igqitywe within la minimum period. Now into esiyibulelayo kuni boTata uNgonyama sisithi khanisondeleni ukwenzele xa sixoxa nala madlagusha aseGoodyear sibe noko sinayo i-backing. Xa sipresenta iproposal yethu equlathwe ngabasebenzi ngoba ngabo ekufuneka bedrayive le process, asizokusuka ngaphandle sithi funani lena lena, ngabo abaza kutsho into yoba ngaba masilwisane kanjani ngeziphi indlela eziphucukileyo. Sine-4 sessions ekulindele ukuba sibe sizama ukusondelelana neGoodyear ukwenzele sifikelele kwi-consensus. Ukuba ngabana sikwazi ukuyiseyiva iGoodyear, kuza kunyanzeleka kuxoxwe nge-retrenchment package.
Okay.
Kodwa andifuni sikhawulezele apho. Okwethu kukulinda la first day izabe ishedyulishwe yi-CCMA, apho ke ngoku siza kuqala khona. Mhla nezolo sakuxhumana nani sininike inkcukacha nokuba ngabana ii-developments zithini na.
Do you have the date? Do you have the date?
Kule ndawo sisahleli kuyo asikabi nayo i-date. From the 5th of June up to i-14th day, i-CCMA kulindeleke isinike i-date. Consulting with parties and their availability, because ayizoxoxwa at a local level lento. Nathi will have to pull our national leadership to be part of this process, so it will have to align i-diaries zethu sisonke. But this will take a priority in the organization, that I can confirm.
Thank you very much, Mr. Msimelelo Jantjies, for explaining the situation of workers at Goodyear. Mr. Ngonyama, I've got only 30 seconds to wrap it up. Your last words.
My last word is to say that let sanity prevails. Let the company see that the action that they are taking it is going to take our country backwards. It's going to take our area backwards. We talk about workers that have actually taken this company to high levels. And therefore, I would like to say that the unions must be listened to, but other stakeholders must come on board, if need be, to assist the process. Thank you, as Msimelelo was saying.
Enkosi kakhulu Tata Usmat Ngonyama, political activist, and you, Mr. Msimelelo Jantjies, shop steward at Contitech. Enkosi kakhulu siyabulela.
Thank you very much.
Nkosi Mhlekazi.
Sibuyile kakhona evenkleni sinamkele kwakhokha inkqubo yethu. Earlier on, we promised you that we will be talking to the head of communications of the African National Congress, Mr. Gift Ngcondi. Unfortunately, we couldn't get hold of him due to technical problems. But he was supposed to talk about the passing on of the former mayor, Dr. Nondomiso Maphazi, who passed on earlier this week. May her soul rest in peace. Now I am joined by the provincial treasurer of the EFF, who is also an MMC of Budget and Treasury in Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality, MMC Councillor Khanya Ngqisha. Siyakwamkela kwinkqubo yethu iVOB Voice of the Bay, MMC Councillor Ngqisha.
Thank you very much, Butpesi, and greetings to the viewers out there as well.
As I have noted that we were supposed to be talking to the head of communications of the ANC, Mr. Gift Ngcondi, about the passing of Dr. Nondomiso Maphazi. Are there any, or is there any way that you would like to say on the passing on of Dr. Maphazi?
Of course, Butpesi, the passing away of any person is always tragic. It's something that one cannot get used to. And as the EFF, I want to officially send our condolences to the Maphazi family. She was one of the brave leaders that gave us a lot of hope. She was a leader in a time where it was not fashionable for women to take up leadership positions. As you know, she was the first female mayor of this city, this metro, Nelson Mandela Metro. And she gave a lot of women hope that this thing can be done in a time when it was not fashionable. So indeed, it's a loss, great loss, not only to the ANC, but to the Nelson Mandela Metro as well, because she was a well-known woman, to the country as well, because she was a leader that inspired many women out there, not only in the metro, but probably in the entire country. So we send our condolences and we hope that her soul may rest in peace.
Yes, thank you very much with those words, Councillor Ngqisha. Councillor Ngqisha, in this show, our focus will be on revenue of this municipality. Earlier or last month, we were busy, or your municipality was busy with the IDP programs, where residents of different wards were afforded an opportunity to prioritize their needs, so that when the time comes for them or for their needs to be budgeted, people will start now looking at what they want. Councillor Ngqisha, let's first talk about the issue of ATTP. We have seen that the budget and treasury warned this municipality for assisting a number of residents who are not working or who are unemployed. Seemingly, you are assisting a lot of people. Can you just explain to us what are the reasons for the Budget and Treasury to instruct you in terms of decreasing your assistance in the, or in those people who are dependent on ATTP program?
Thank you very much, Butpesi. Well, as you will know, it's the National Treasury that wrote to us officially and told us that we need to decrease the amount of money that we use in order to assist our people. You will know that money that is given us by National Treasury is heavily regulated. So we need to follow the laws and the rules of which how the money is supposed to be used. As you know, we came into government, it's almost been a year now that we've been in government. So these things, we found them here. So it is very difficult now to reduce money that you have been given to people. It's not a process that can be done overnight. So we are saying that we are not against what National Treasury is saying. We have to comply because it's what National Treasury is saying. It's the highest form of government, and we, from time to time, get guidance from them in terms of how we should move. But in order to be in line in terms of what they are saying, we need to follow a process that can be a little bit lengthy. And we're saying that we are going to do it, but National Treasury should be a little bit patient with us, because in order to make certain changes, we need to first go and consult with our people on the ground, inform them of the changes, and inform them in terms of what is the municipality going to do to be able to ensure that the people that are used to receiving this type of assistance are not affected. So the municipality has got options of which it needs to then, or we need to raise the money that is the difference in some form or other way. And we've discussed this in our various committees, from Budget and Treasury to the Mayoral Committee, and we've resolved in terms of how we are going to come up with the rest of the money that is needed to cover the shortfall that will be there when we implement the instructions from National Treasury.
Is there any political parties who are challenging this this move?
No, there's no political party that is challenging the move. All political parties in principle across all political spectrums agreed that whatever happens, the poor must not be affected. So if indeed we come to a point of reducing the amount, as a municipality that is responsible, that has care for our people, we must be able to look for other avenues to augment the loss of the budget, so that our people on the ground are not affected.
So far, how many households benefit from this program of ATTP?
It's a lot, Butpesi. The number is too huge. But what I can tell you is that it's over 17,000 people that are benefiting from this ATTP assistance. But what we are resolute on as the municipality is that as much as that number, in fact, even that number is not enough, because we are even saying that there should be programs to go and look for more people. Because remember, the amount of money that is given to us through the ATTP program is money that is readily available from National Treasury. And as long as people are unable to afford, National Treasury gives us a certain allocation in terms of the budget that can be able to assist those people. But what we've been instructed to do is that we should reduce the amount per person that we are currently giving, of which we are going to do.
Let's move on, Mr. or MMC Councillor Ngisha of Budget and Treasury. Another interesting thing is the issue of ward allocations and IDP. Seemingly, this matter you are still discussing, is still pending. Why other political parties are not happy about these ward allocations?
Well, political parties,
especially the Democratic Alliance.
Well, the Democratic Alliance is an opposition political party, so they will play to the gallery from time to time so that they don't appear to be agreeing to everything that the EFF or the ANC or the political parties that are in government. Sometimes it's painful to be in opposition, and this is the pain that the DA is feeling, to be led by a black political party. And we are going to lead them, unfortunately. Myself as Budget and Treasury and as the EFF, we are leading them. They must take direction from us, and they must allow themselves to be led. We've consulted them. As much as they're in opposition political parties, the process of the IDP and budget allocation, we've had consultation meetings with all ward councillors, and we've done this as clusters. And so we've had interactions, engagements. We've included even our administration in the highest office of my office, which is the CFO. Also, the COO was forming part of these sessions. But some of the comments that are coming from some of the councillors is that they want perfection, of which we are not going to get a perfect allocation of budget for everyone.
Okay, let's just put a pause for now and go for a commercial ad break. Masibaleke sengasevenkileni sabuya naye u-MMC of Budget and Treasury kuMasipala Dombaxa, Councillor Khanya Ngqisha. VOB Voice of the Bay. We are still with Councillor or MMC Khanya Ngqisha. Masikwamkele kwakho MMC. Before we go for a commercial break, you were explaining issues that has to do with budget or ward allocations.
Yes.
Over to you.
Yes. No, ward allocation and IDP process, we've consulted ward councillors because we respect ward councillors. They are democratically elected, whether it's DA or ANC or whichever political party. And therefore, you need to be able to do your due process and inform them, get the sense in terms of what they would like to find expression within those particular wards. But the reality is that if we're in heaven, we'd be able to make to realize all the wishes of the ward councillors, but unfortunately we can't. With the money that we get from Budget and Treasury, we need to be able to apply our minds and distribute it accordingly. So some wards, because of the needs, may get more, some wards may get less. Some of the wards may get a budget that will run over 2 years. For instance, when you build a multi-purpose center, you build it over 2 financial years. So those are the things that you need to consider when we do these consultations with all of the ward councillors. So we are not surprised by the crybaby tendencies of the DA, in spite of our efforts and the long meetings and the sessions that we've had with all ward councillors, including themselves, by the way.
Councillor Ngqisha, briefly explain to our viewers the issue of Ward 41. Ward 41, if the council approves the budget allocation of wards, Ward 41 will get 100 million. Why?
Well, Percy, as I said, when you do the allocations of budget, not all wards will find expression in terms of what they desire. So in Nelson Mandela, for instance, we've got 60 wards. There are other service delivery objectives that cut across all wards. For instance, the wastewater treatment center is something that is affected, that affects all particular wards. Hence, you can't say a particular ward claims, but all wards benefit from this particular budgetary item. So out of the 60 wards, we have to then prioritize in terms of what are the needs from Ward 1 up until Ward 60. There are wards that, for instance, are still using gravel roads, of which you need to allocate budgets. But are all wards going to be able to get roads that are tarred? The answer is no. And why is that? Is because we are reliant on money that we receive from National Treasury. If we got the budget according to our wish list, of course, we'd be able to provide all the necessary needs, even of Ward 41. We are aware of the situation, by the way, of Ward 41, and in terms of its
Just
needs.
give us a picture of the needs of that ward, MMC English.
Gravel roads, it's in need of, it's using gravel roads. It's in need of those roads to be fixed. There's a lot of houses that are there, RDP houses. It's a place that is saturated. So even the sewer gets saturated to the point that on often occasions it is flowing in the streets. And so those are the things that need to be budgeted for. You need to change the piping system, which is underground. It needs to be bigger in terms of the circumference, so that it can be able to flow smoothly and accommodate the number of people that are in there. Because over time, certain wards get saturated and they get the number increases, and hence from time to time there's even ward demarcations that need to be done, because certain wards tend to grow by number, and the amount, the service that we need to then provide for that particular ward needs to be looked at and need to be reviewed so that it can be able to meet the needs of that particular ward.
On the other side, there are DA wards, or wards that are under the Democratic Alliance, of which those wards are allocated 100,000 for each ward. So that is why the Democratic Alliance is not happy about the allocation of the wards that are controlled by them politically.
No, there's no such a thing, Butpesi. There's wards in the northern areas that have been allocated adequate funding, but adequate can be then debated in terms of what you mean by adequate. That is why I'm saying that we are not going to make everyone happy, because maybe certain ward councillors, they want A, B, C, and D, and the budget will only allow for A and B, and we'll deal with C and D probably in the next financial year. All of this is dependent on the money that we receive from National Treasury. If we had the money that we wished for, we'd fix everything, and the city would look beautiful, and there'd be service delivery galore. Remember, not only ourselves were in government, the DA itself has been in government, led by their former mayor, Retief Odendaal. Look at the communities within the northern areas. There's nothing that has changed. Things are still the same. The areas are collapsing, if anything, and they are led by DA constituencies. And so we are trying at least to try and accommodate the wards that are there as many as we can with the limited resources that we are having.
Councillor Ngisha, before we move on this matter, most of the wards doesn't have electric lights or street lights. Is there any allocation in terms of repairs in those wards?
Yes, remember the street lights matter is a matter of the whole metro. There had been an outcry that the city is dark, and there's, as a result, people are getting robbed and crime will increase because of the city being dark. Also, we've got a problem of vandalism, because you fix a street light, tomorrow it's broken, and people use that, the wires, and sell it wherever they are selling it. However, it's a well-known fact that the service providers that were providing that particular service of fixing street lights was halted by the administration on the basis that there were certain irregularities that were founded upon by the SIU, of which as politicians we can't enter that space. We need to allow the law to unfold and take its course. However, the MMC of Electricity and Energy has been in the forefront in terms of fast-tracking a process to ensure that there is a tender that is advertised, which it has been, and is closed, and the administration through the supply chain process must do the evaluation process as quickly as possible and appoint companies in a fair process and in a fair manner so that those first service providers can go on the ground and provide those services to our people and have the city looking bright and beautiful again.
Before we go for a commercial break, a week ago, in Ward 34, we have seen the former mayor, who is the member of the Democratic Alliance, Mr. Retief Odendaal, and other DA members taking over your responsibility of filling some potholes. As a municipality, how did you feel when you look at those pics on social media?
Yeah, we don't have time for entertaining what Retief Odendaal is doing. Retief Odendaal, by the way, is deployed by his political party at a provincial, in a province, but seemingly he still behaves as if he's still a regional leader, because he's forever talking about Nelson Mandela. He's forever here. He's obsessed about Nelson Mandela. He does nothing outside of Nelson Mandela. The province is too huge. He must go to Mthatha, Xofimvaba, and those other areas and focus there as well. Eastern Cape is not only based in his comfort zone of Nelson Mandela, and is someone that is seemingly, it's like the DA wants to reuse, recycle,
Okay.
because I even know that they've made him their mayoral candidate. So we can't be spending time entertaining those things of the DA.
Let's go for a commercial break. We will talk more about the debt relief program that you will be looking at as a municipality of Nelson Mandela, Mr. Khanya Ngqisha. Let's go for a commercial break. Sinamkele kwakho sesikole siqukumbele inkqubo yethu iVOB Voice of the Bay with yours truly Percy M. Ndisekunye naye MMC we-Budget and Treasury kuMasipala Mbaxa kaMandela, Councillor Khanya Ngqisha, who is also EFF Provincial Treasurer. But for today, we are focusing on his duties as an MMC who is responsible. In fact, he's the political head who's responsible for Budget and Treasury, deployed by his party, that is EFF. Councillor Ngqisha, let's look at the issue of debt relief. The Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality plans to write off some debts, especially for companies, residents, and other stakeholders. Why are you doing this program? What are the reasons of writing off some of the debts? Why?
Well, firstly, Percy, the write-off is conditional. It's not that it's a blanket approach. Everyone is going to get a write-off of 50%. Secondly, the people out there in the metro must thank God that the EFF is part of this government, because this is something that has never been done before. It's decisive, and it's decisive caring for our people. It shows that we identify with the cries of our people, because this will be a financial relief for many of our people who are struggling, who are the middle class.
Why are you singling out your political party, EFF, in this matter?
Because as the EFF, as you said, we are the political head of Budget and Treasury. So this is an item that came through Budget and Treasury. We lobbied and we got support from the rest of the political parties. So the municipality is currently sitting at a debt of 18 billion. Now, remember that the budget of the municipality annually is sitting at 19 billion. So you can imagine that the debt is almost equivalent to the budget of the municipality. The debt now is no longer an asset, it is a liability to the municipality. When it becomes a liability, it means even if the municipality goes to financial institutions to ask for assistance, we will not get it because our liabilities will be too much. So we were decisive to say that those that can not afford to pay their debts because they've ballooned and grown too much, we are going to write them off 50%. But in order to qualify for the 50% write-off, you must pay 2.5% of your capital arrears debt upfront. So once you've paid the 2.5% of the arrears capital debt, the 50% then takes effect. Then we give you 12 months to pay the rest of the 50%. If you default within this 12 months, if you miss a single installment of the 12 months, that 50% write-off is reversed and goes back to your account. Now, what does that do? That allows us to collect and increase the collection rate of the municipality, which is currently sitting at a low 72.3%. Now, when this strategy is in play, probably when you're going around January, February, the collection rate, I can tell you, will be sitting at 85% plus, which is our target. And it has not been at 85% for a very long time. So it's a brilliant strategy which we've presented, lobbied political parties, and all of them, by the way, supported it. And I'm loved even by the DA because of this beautiful strategy that we presented to them, because it's going to lure people to come and make payments, because we're struggling to get people to make payments. At the same time, we are relieving people because the debt has been allowed by the administration to balloon out of control. So we are going to now get to a point where we reduce it, where it is manageable, so that the revenue management of the municipality focuses not on debt management, but on revenue management.
How many companies or well-established companies that are going to benefit from this program?
We've opened this to companies, we've opened this to individual household accounts. The debt book of 18 billion, by the way, commercial or business, if you want to put it that way, they comprise of about 2.5 billion of that. The rest of the amount, which is 15.5 billion, if my math serves me correctly, it's individual household accounts. So you're looking at about, let's say 20% of the 18 billion belongs to businesses. It's a small percentage compared to the individual household accounts. So most of the debt is lying within individual households. So they are the ones that are going to benefit, because I can tell you everyone that is listening to this and is seeing this knows someone that is struggling to pay their municipal account debt. So this is a time for them to come front to the municipality and stick to the arrangements. We are going to write off that 50%, including companies that want to do so. So if you don't come to the front and pay the 2.5% of your area's capital debt, it means you are not going to benefit. If you do, then you are going to benefit, and you must stick to the payment arrangement, strictly so.
MC Ngisha, please explain to our viewers the district of Nelson Mandela in education as from January. By the way, late last year, there was no electricity. Can you just explain to us what exactly is happening between the municipality and the Nelson Mandela Education Department?
No, we're dealing with them decisively. Remember, the Department of Education is a state organ of state. They get money for electricity, to pay their electricity bills. So there's no excuse for them. They're not a profit, they're not driven by profit margins, where if it's COVID, then they can't pay, and so on and so forth. Whether there's COVID or no COVID, they get money from the state. If they decide to misuse it, then we need to be able to teach them a lesson and be harsh and disconnect them. And by the way, this was even the advice and guidance that we got from National Treasury itself. They even went as far as to say that you must be very hard on state organs or state institutions because they get money, but they choose not to prioritize the paying of electricity. Just imagine if, as a municipality, because our electricity as well, it doesn't come from heaven. We purchase our electricity from Eskom. Just imagine, we tell you that we don't have enough money to pay electricity from Eskom, and now we can't provide electricity to our residents. What type of a municipality would we be? Now, the Department of Education, West, it is responsible for schools, but because we are a caring municipality, and by the way, it's my department that disconnects or reconnects electricity. We don't disconnect schools and
How
children.
much does the education owe you?
I don't have the figures, but it's within that 2.5 billion that is being owed.
How much do you have in your reserves as the municipality?
Well, remember we've got a budget of 19 billion that we get
In
given.
your reserves, how much do you have?
I'm telling you that the budget that we get given is 19 billion as a municipality. So we need to spend that budget. So we have to work according to the budget that we get given. So if, for instance...
So you don't have money in your reserves?
No, we've got money in our reserves. How much is it? It will last us for 3 months. Remember, National Treasury came to us and gave us a finding in terms of our finances are healthy as a municipality. In comparison to other municipalities, was only the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro and also the city of Cape Town that had a good finding in terms of financial health. That means that if the municipality were not to get any funding from National Treasury for 3 months, the municipality will still be able to pay its workers, it will still be able to pay its service providers that provide services in the community and do all sorts of other things for a period of 3 months, meaning that our finances are fine.
When are you going to stop demanding the reconnection fee as the municipality to those their electricity box are disconnected?
It is something that we are discussing with the administration, Butpesi. We can't do everything all at once because we need to find different strategies in order to recoup money and get money into the coffers of the municipality. So these are some of the strategies that we are doing as well. And this is something that we are currently discussing with the administration in order to find ways to recoup money of the municipality through other means without including the reconnection fee.
Councillor Ngisha, it's a pity that we are running out of time, but we thank you so much for honoring this interview with us. Siyabulela Nkosi.
Thank you very much, and to the viewers out there.
Ngolo hlobo ke nenkqubo yethu ifikelele esiphelweni, VOB Voice of the Bay with myself, Percy M. Masibuye sibonane kwixesha elizayo. Happy Sunday. Adios amigos. God bless.